All right, all right. We'll try and see if anyone comes up in here before I get started. But y'all know what time it is. Y'all know what time it is. So, see some people in here. What up? What's going on, Danielle? What up, Matt? What up, Debo? Hey, Christina. Appreciate everyone on here right now looking. I just wanted to go and thank you, bro. Thank you. So, yeah, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all. Just wanted to know that come on here and say what up, Greg, and say I've wanted to do this for a while, and the basis of this is for me to what it do. The basis of this is for me to. I realized that my voice is a gift, and for me, it's to have something to talk about and a platform, and I want to put on people and people who are in the area, as well as just talk, have conversation. That's what I'm about. And I come up with the name Honest Hour because I try to be an honest, positive person. A lot of the people in here have seen my videos. They have seen my positivity. I try to put forth that, hey, babe, I try to put forth that positive message. And I always try to look at the upside of things versus the negativity and the negativity and the downfall of it. And I'm not perfect. None of us are. And honestly, little background is I started to do this. I think it was last year, maybe the year before. My guest tonight invited me onto her platform to be a guest. And I was a little nervous to do it. But once I did it, I felt comfortable. And from that, I started a sports podcast, Nerd Camp, with me and my partner, Raja Anthony Ali, on Monday nights. And now I'm launching this platform, and I'm so grateful to see that there's 7 people in here currently. Like, it means a lot to me. And I'm just happy that everyone's on this ride. It's going to be great. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on my guest tonight, Danielle Morton. She runs a group called Discussion Gangsters. She's a gangstress. She's a dope teacher. What up, B-Bon? She's a dope teacher. She's even a doper person. And I'm going to get her in here. What up? What up?
Oh, hold up. Oh,
Okay.
hold up. Not that. Not that. Hold up.
There we are. What's going on?
Hey, friend.
Hi, friend. What you
Oh,
doing?
hey, J Sierra. I
Yeah,
see her
what
in the
up?
comments.
What
Ow.
what up, Jay? Yeah, you know we got B Bond in here too. It looks like, you know.
I saw. Oh, hey, Jackie. Hey, friend. Miss you guys.
We miss you too. We miss you too.
Uh, I
We
like I
miss you
like
too.
that nice introduction. Haven't you?
You know,
Okay.
I'm trying. Club Shay Shay's a little messy right now, but his introductions are top notch.
Facts.
Top notch. Top notch. So, but how you doing today? You.
I'm great, actually. Today's a good day. I was really looking forward to doing this with you. Like, I miss you guys real badly.
Oh, we miss you too. We miss you too. You know, Michelle. Oh, she went
Oh,
upstairs. Of course
oh,
she
my
did.
gangster baby.
She was just, what up, Rich? Thank you, Cece. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Yeah, we miss you too. Like, they were just asking about you the other day, actually.
Mm,
So they happy. They happy. We can't wait for you to make your presence known a little later this year.
yeah, I'll be around at some
You
point,
know?
but I'm settling down here, and I'm really loving my life down here. So
Well, we gonna
it
get
was the right thing.
we gonna get into all that because, like I said, we went over the list, but if you want to see it, there's the list I got. So that
We
that's what I
ain't gonna
got.
run out of stuff to talk about, I guess.
No, not at all, not at all. So I wanna start. Anyone who knows we're close friends, no doubt about it.
Absolutely.
And but for many people who don't know, where are you originally from, and where is it? And what was it like growing up for you?
Um, I'm from Newburgh, New York. And um,
Oh man,
and,
the whole if
and
we get LT in here, the whole DG cast
oh
is
man,
here.
I appreciate all the other hosts jumping in for a little support, And
Absolutely.
but they ain't here for me though. They really here for you. Just to
Hey,
be clear.
listen, that's all right. What up, Nicole? That's all
But anyway, I'm
good.
from Newburgh. I was raised in Newburgh. It definitely let me see a lot of different things, a lot of different like sides of life. I'm proud to have grown up in Newburgh. I would choose to do it again, to be honest. Um, Newburgh gets a really bad rap because of like crime and everything like that. But I'm like, there's crime everywhere, bro.
Of
Like, you know what I'm saying?
course,
Like,
of course, no matter where
but
you
there's
are,
also
crime.
so much like talent and beauty and arts and music and cooking and stuff that come out of Newburgh. But and sports, especially like our sports teams, our high school offers programs that the other high schools don't offer. Like there's a lot of good things in Newburgh, but it just kind of gets overshadowed by the negative. But we gotta keep being the positive voice behind it.
Absolutely, and I think for many people who I've asked to come on this platform are from Newburgh, and you look at like the positivity of it. I mean, even to the point where I look at it like this. I got a whole list here of potential guests.
Wow,
Potential. This side have all agreed, and this side I plan to ask. And
you real organized in here. I feel it. I feel it. You taking
listen,
it seriously.
listen. This isn't a joke. It's not a game. So we gotta definitely do better with that. Because like you said, Newberg definitely gets that bad rap, and I hate that because there's so much talent in Newberg.
So much talent.
So much talent, so much we have. That's right, Newberg. Really, Rich got the Jericho
The
list.
Jericho,
Really,
if
bro.
you saw that shit, that was crazy.
Oh my God. So
That was crazy.
so I guess I say that to say, then growing up in Newburgh, you never had any problems or anything like that. I never had any problems, any beefs. So I think a lot of people in Newburgh have an issue getting through, getting out of that Newburgh mentality, you know? And when I say that, it's like, you can either you can choose to do the right thing or you can choose to not do the right thing, right?
Right.
Because even before, not too long ago, there was a shooting at a football game. And now teams from out of town didn't want to play in Newburgh. And,
Yeah.
a guy I worked with, his daughter was at that game. And, it was traumatizing. So,
I would
and
imagine.
so I say that to say, being that that did happen at a school and that you are a teacher, where did you get your desire to wanna wanna be a teacher, or that you want to be a teacher, and when did you decide that you wanted to be a teacher?
Honestly, I decided that after I was already in college.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. So when I was in high school, like my junior year, and they bring you into guidance office and they ask you about like your college plans and like what you want to do and like why you're making your schedule for your senior year. And nobody had really asked me that before
Yeah,
that point. So I really didn't know what direction my life was going or what it was that I wanted to do. And so I started thinking, I'm like, okay, what's something that I like? I'm like, well, I like kids, but I really don't want to be a teacher. I really want to work in like daycare, but daycare really doesn't pay a ton. Like it's like in a lot of places it's like minimum wage, even for like the lead teacher, which I know because I've been a lead teacher several
yeah,
times. And it, which is crazy. We take care of people's children. Like,
of course, of
but
course.
so I'm like, all right, daycare doesn't really pay that much, but like maybe I'll like own a daycare one day, which is still like an on the fence dream. Haven't decided if I want to pursue that or not yet. But so I was like, well, there's not really a degree for daycare worker. Like they don't necessarily need degrees to work at a
Right,
daycare.
right,
And I was like, well, I'll go to college for like an education path, but I really don't want to be a teacher, but at least I'll have a college degree. And then fast forward as I got into the major more and started being like doing my placements actually in school and working with kids, I realized how much I actually did like it and I did want to be a teacher, even with all the like planning and the like parents and the stuff that comes with it. I was like, man, this is the stuff I thought I wouldn't like, but I actually do and I love it. And I like seeing kids like have that first aha moment when they like figure something out that they've been struggling at, or like you're like, man, this child's only been here for like 5 or 6 years, and I just taught them something for the first time that they may or may not use for the rest of their lives, but they wouldn't know about it if it wasn't for me. So,
exactly. You felt like you were the connecting piece to doing that. A lot of teachers don't. Rich says they don't pay you enough. LOL to be telling little John, don't eat the
you know,
Legos.
yeah, honestly, I say that several times a day. So it's like, but no, they don't. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, you really gotta love teaching to do it for the amount of money that teachers
Yeah,
make. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
otherwise, it's
Because
not worth it if you don't actually enjoy doing it. And I do love doing it, so it is worth it to me.
well, and you put everything into it. Like
I do.
like
I
I watch
absolutely
the
do.
videos and I see what you do, and you put a lot into it. Because you make it for exciting for them. You bring them in and you say, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and you take the pictures with them and you show them and you do everything the right way, so you don't get yourself in trouble as well, because that's important. And I just wish that there were more teachers that were dedicated, because like even like now Maya, for the viewers, Maya's my middle daughter. She's struggling with math. The math teacher tells me, well, there's no after school help for her. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. And I'm like, trying to explain to her that's difficult because she's not with me during the week, she's with her mom. So they don't have the same, not all teachers have that dedication. Even like to the point they want to do a conference with me. We've been going back and forth for a week and a half, and they're telling me, well, we leave at 2:15 and I don't get out of work till 2:30. So, you know,
Yeah, it's complicated because it's like we're on school hours, which is for us work hours,
right.
and then the parents are also on work hours. So it's like
It's hard.
either we both have to interrupt our days or we have to, or like we don't get off work at the same time. Like generally parents in school don't, their jobs don't end at the same time as school. So it's like it's really hard to accommodate everybody's schedules, but also like, during the day for us, obviously we're teaching, we're supervising your children. So we
Right.
don't have, we really can't like just drop everything and do a conference all the time. And then it's like, well, you don't get off work till 4:15, but I'm ready to leave at 2:15. So now you're
Right.
talking me sitting in the building for like 2 hours to figure it out. So
And I'm trying to do a virtual meeting with them like this, and they shot me a time. I didn't really, the time I couldn't guarantee it. I get a lunch break, but it depends on how the work's going. Some days I'm on lunch at 9:30 in the morning. Some days it's 11:30. Just depends on how heavy the day is at work.
yeah, sometimes these conferences just gotta be an email, bro. Like at some point, or a instant message, a
Yeah,
text, something. Like
yeah,
at
yeah.
some
We
point,
we we got
the schedules just don't match up enough.
no,
But
we we gotta get it there. That's the thing.
You know, one thing I love though. I'm sorry, I was going back to something you said before, and we've gotten a little off since then, so it may sound random, but
Okay.
you know that post that went around a couple years ago, and it was like, tell me in the comments what grade you were in when you had your first black teacher or black. I think it was black male
I
teacher,
remember that.
and it made me think of like I didn't have any black teachers until like seventh grade or something.
Oh,
I had black principals, but I didn't have any black teachers until I think seventh grade. My math teacher was a black man, so that was my first black teacher and my first black male teacher. But I'm like, I love for my students that if they get asked that question, they're gonna be able to say kindergarten.
yeah, absolutely.
When's the first
It
time you saw a teacher with hair to look like yours? Kindergarten,
kindergarten.
motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
my
Mine
teacher
was ninth
wore her afro every day. Okay.
with pride. And I think mine was like ninth grade. Like that's when I seen my first one. Or had my first black male teacher. It was, and I think I only had two. It was him and Mr. Harvey. That's it.
Yep. I want to say that might be it for me also.
Yes.
Mr. Harvey wasn't my teacher, but I was on the step team, so he was my faculty advisor for that. But I didn't have a ton of black teachers. Definitely had a couple black principals. And like everybody I work under is black and female
Okay.
here. So, and it's amazing
Empowerment.
and I love them. Like a lot of people, I see a lot of posts like about how terrible it is to work for to be a black woman and work for a black female supervisor. And I'm like, that's not my experience.
Right.
Like, this is not the first time I've worked under a black person or a black woman, but I don't have bad experiences with it. I have experiences where they kind of tough love me a little bit, but they want to mentor me and like help me be better and like help me walk through the doors that they opened for me.
Yeah.
I
It just
don't
like
have this like I have like one negative experience with a black female supervisor, but even that turned around like years later when we had another interaction. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't that's just not my experience that it's bad to work for a black female supervisor.
I don't think so. It's just one of those narratives that they put in their mind, and then they
Right.
force it to the world, and people start actually believing it. It's
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 weird to
something.
me. I don't know.
It's sad. It's sad.
Not
But I
a
want
fan.
to not at
Not
all.
a fan,
But
bro.
so you decided in college you wanted to be a teacher. You knew what
Yeah.
it was going to be. You got obviously the credentials you needed to get to achieve that goal.
I have
Um,
three professional New York State teaching licenses, which are currently in the process of being transferred to Virginia state teaching licenses. But yes,
okay, hey,
I can also teach in
Andromeda.
Thailand.
Yes. Well, that's where we're going. That was the
Okay,
segue.
let's take
So
it
I,
there.
I want to know how exactly did you end up getting to Thailand, and
You know
what were
what's
some
crazy?
of the experiences there? Now, real quick before you even answer, because I have something in my mind, because I would see the memories on Snapchat a
Okay.
lot of like and you explained it to me because I asked, but for the audience, it was like a bathroom, but the toilet was like on the ground, like in the floor.
Oh yeah, yeah. I don't. I actually never looked up what those are called, but yeah, there are places in. The first one time I saw one was in the airport layover in Istanbul, and I was like, man, is this what all the toilets are gonna be like? They're literally on the ground and they're just picture like a urinal but on the ground.
You
Picture like if you took the urinal off the wall
just put it
and you
in
laid it on
the
the
ground.
ground and like cut off the big bottom part, like the bowl part. Listen, I don't know how to identify urinal parts,
That's
but
pretty much the right way.
but it's on the ground and I guess you're supposed to like squat over it because I don't know if that's for like you know how they say the better position for you to poop in is like a
Yeah,
squat. I don't know if it's for that because these are in public bathrooms, and
yeah.
then there's this giant box. I don't know how else to call it, full of water with a bucket, and you pick it up and pour it, and that's how you flush. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not touching that.
No,
Let's
no,
start
no,
there.
no. No,
100% not touching that.
absolutely not.
Second of all, I don't want to have to try to balance if I'm trying to poop. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I
You're like,
don't
I don't know about that.
I don't want to have to try to balance. I wasn't raised this way. I don't my body doesn't do this.
Like,
Like,
it's not meant to do all this,
yeah.
and then there's no walls to hold
No,
on to.
like
You're
if there
like,
was, I still wouldn't. I wouldn't touch them either. But
like there's
and
no
then on
comfort.
top of the fact, most of the public bathrooms, didn't have toilet paper because they use the bidets there, the little bum gun shower thing. And I'm like, okay, now my ass is wet. Now what?
Like
Like, how do I get up?
now, what am I supposed to do? Like, what
What do
does
I
this
do
do?
now?
What does this do
Then
for
on
me?
top of that, if the if you wanted toilet paper, you had to buy it. Like from people sitting outside the bathroom that were like
Oh,
selling it for like a certain amount per roll. And sometimes per roll meant those little this big like purse size containers of tissues.
oh
Like
no,
travel tissues, not actual like toilet
oh
paper.
no, no.
Like I'm sorry, Bebon, I'll stop talking about poop. But but like and like the first time I went to get my hair done there, I wanted to have braids in my hair the whole time I was there because my hair does crazy things in humidity. So immediately when it was time for me to take my braids out, I went and found somebody else that could get me new braids. And halfway through, I'm like, could I go to the restroom? She's like, yeah, do you have toilet paper? And I'm thinking she's joking. I'm like, do I have toilet paper in my backpack? What do you mean? And I'm like, no. She's like, okay. And just sends me off. I'm like, that was weird. And I use the bathroom. I realized there's no toilet paper in it. There's only the bidet thing. Like a lot of people don't keep toilet paper in their house or in their
Wow.
bathroom or anything. They just keep the little bum gun thing. And I'm like, but then your ass is wet. Like, what do you do
Like,
after that? Like,
yeah, like that's like uncomfortable.
I'm like, do you just get up and be wet or do you like shake like a dog or like what do we do about this?
Like,
Do you wipe your ass on a towel every
yo,
time? I'm sorry,
really
DC.
being honest in this pod.
He listen. He came on our show and talked about shitting in the box. Okay, it's time
Oh,
to turn this around from that.
oh God.
I forget.
Oh, geez, my mom is in the comments
I
now.
listen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know.
My mom made an Instagram, and now we airing out the dirty laundry. Mom, don't be ashamed of me. Yeah, sipping tea like Kermit over there.
Speaking of dirty laundry, you talking about got to use your sock in the comment.
Listen,
Ew.
listen.
First of all, anybody barely has socks on in Thailand. It's a billion degrees all the time. It's fucking hot.
My mom just wrote, hmm.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, yep. It's all good
Let's bring
though.
this back around. Is this what it's like, Nisi? Is this what it's like when when I'm trying to get control of Bevon and JCR? Is this what it's like?
Oh my god.
Sorry. My deepest apologies. Let me get this together. All right. Okay.
Listen, it's all
I'm back.
good.
I'm
It's all
back.
good. It's all good.
You said talk about some of the experiences. These are some of the experiences.
I opened the door. I don't no, don't visit Thailand without
Don't
toilet paper.
literally don't come to Thailand without toilet paper. Like it's crazy.
So how else was it different from the United States?
My favorite thing about being in Thailand, as far as like differences in the United States and in here and there,
Right.
here, the reason I don't want to live in New York City is because or when I was in New York, the reason I didn't want to live in New York City is because one of the reasons I like to drive to where I'm going and just like get there in a reasonable amount of time, park in a reasonably close area for free, and get out and go where I'm going. And in New York
Yeah.
City, that's difficult to do in a lot of places. You might have to drive in a lot of traffic. You might have to park a couple blocks away, circle around, pay for the park. It's a nightmare.
It's a
In
nightmare.
Thailand, I was in Bangkok, so that's like almost like the equivalent of like our New York City as far as like what I'm saying, like
Traffic.
their version of like a
Yeah.
big city. Right, the traffic is worse in Bangkok than it is in New York City. So if you're going somewhere and you take a car, a taxi, or like something that's on the street, it's gonna take you like three times as long to get where you're going. So like the public transportation was much easier over there, and they have bike taxis, which is like when you call an Uber and you get in a stranger's car and you go
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah.
Over there, one of the options is you call a person on a motorcycle and get on the back of a motorcycle with a stranger.
And no helmet.
there, there's helmets, and we're supposed to wear them.
They have,
Um,
they have helmets, but not toilet paper. Okay.
right. It's kind of iffy. So, but you get on the bike taxi and you go where you're going. But like in America, the motorcycles stop like in line with cars, like they go with the flow of traffic. In Thailand, the motorcycles go between the traffic. So if the cars are stopped, we're still going. We might also go on the wrong side of the road to get around the car. The stoplights are suggestions. Um,
Oh,
so, however,
suggest you stop here.
they were suggestions for sure, but it was still my favorite way to travel anywhere because it got you there twice as fast and I didn't have to drive.
True.
And like the first few times I did it, I was definitely scared. I didn't do it correctly at all, at least twice. But after a while, you get used to it, and like to the point that I would be like texting, listening to music while we're on, because I didn't have to hold on anymore. Like I knew how to hold on with just my legs,
Yeah.
so
You knew
like
how to
it was
stand to where
not stand, but like
or position.
yeah, not stand, but like I knew how to like sit on it without needing to like hold on for dear life. It's super dangerous. It's absolutely dangerous. There would be babies on those things,
Oh,
like you know how in America you have to have a certain car seat for a certain height, certain weight, certain
right.
turn it around. Like no, in Thailand the baby might be strapped to your chest and you on a motorcycle.
Oh,
Like
oh, that's scary.
the toddler might be standing on the seat holding onto your neck with the other parent behind them. So now there's three of you on one motorcycle.
So
Like
Debo says no pedal bikes out there.
I mean they got pedal bikes, but
Hold on,
I,
real pause, real quick. You have a visitor.
Michelle.
Hello, you.
Hi, miss you, love you.
Miss you too.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. You gonna come visit me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I will. Just got all
Alrighty.
right here.
Oh,
I'm a
I'll
dude.
tell them. I'll convince mom and dad. They're gonna ship you by yourself though.
Okay, that's
Okay.
fine. Yeah. I love you. Mwah.
Love you. Bye. Oh my God.
Bye.
Oh,
Oh, that's my baby.
well, Michelle invades Honest Hour. Everyone, that's my youngest daughter. Um, one of Danielle's best friends.
Love her. You guys send me some school pictures to put on my fridge.
uh, yeah, they're actually right over there. I will definitely send
Awesome.
them to you so you have them for sure. So, okay.
Mm,
Sorry,
that's
she
my
just wanted.
baby.
She's about to go to sleep. So,
Oh,
she loves her
yeah.
some Danielle though.
It's a school night. Gotta go to bed.
That's it. But it's Friday Junior, so she's all right.
You listen. First of all, you about to lose me as a snap streaker if you gonna keep reminding me that it's about to be Monday every day of the week. You hate every day of the week except Friday, bro. And then you remind everybody that the weekend's over. You hate it.
But you see, I kind of hate Fridays too because Friday's closer to Monday than Monday is to Friday.
You just hate every day of life. Like I don't like. When do you be happy? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Like it's like Garfield, but every day,
Garfield. Dang,
every
Garfield.
day.
Dang.
I don't
That's
be wanting
rough.
to open your snaps because you're just going to depress me about what day of the week it is, no matter what day it is. Like,
I find that Jackie said never. I ain't never happy.
never, bro. Only time he was happy was when he married you. That's it.
There's consolation. I have been happy.
There you go.
Oh man. Well, so all right. So now, obviously, that was quite the
Fun fact.
experience.
Fun
Fun
fact
fact.
for the viewers. I only met Mike's wife once before they got married, and I was at their wedding.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But now
Like.
she's very. I'm very close with her now, and I love her.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Well, met one time and then boom. I was
Boom,
like, oh, you're coming to our
married.
wedding. Oh, okay.
It was a beautiful wedding, though.
It was. It was.
I had
We
a great
did.
time.
Oh,
Almost missed it.
everyone did. Yeah. Yeah. I remember that.
Almost missed it.
But you were there,
You
and then
listen,
you.
I got Tasha to thank for that because I had the invitation and the save date on my fridge for months. Months, okay? I knew that it was coming up. My ex and I, we was like, we gotta do our hair before this time. We gotta get these clothes. I wanted him to match my dress and everything. Like we was ready. In my mind, I thought the date was 5/22/22. So, and because in my mind, weddings are on
Right.
Sundays. And I'm thinking like, okay, 5/22/22. And then Tasha messaged me like that morning and she said something about leaving work early. I'm like, why are you leaving work early? She's like, to go to the wedding. I'm like, whose wedding? And she's like, Mike's. I'm like, that's today? She's like, yeah. I'm like, girl, it is? Are you serious? Like, I'm like at work at this time. I'm like, well, I can't leave early now. I didn't like take off. And so I text my ex, which at the time it wasn't my ex, but I'm like, yo, the wedding, he didn't have his clothes at this point. He hasn't finished buying his outfit at this point.
Y'all thought it was Sunday.
Because we thought it was Sunday and he waited till the last minute to buy his outfit. And I'm like, bro, what do I do? Like, his hair's not done. My hair's not done. He don't have his clothes. And the wedding's in like 5 hours.
Oh my
And we're both at work right now.
oh, Jesus.
Like, we literally almost missed it. When we pulled up, the ceremony was like ending.
Oh,
Like, we was
really?
really, yeah, we really was like at the reception and just we kind of scooted in hoping you wouldn't notice. Like,
Yeah, like I, I remember because yeah, a lot of people were like kind of coming in like that way, but it's
yeah,
all
I met up
good.
with some other people that I knew that was coming in at the same time. I was like, okay, we're not the only ones that's dumb late.
And then I remember during the reception, you're like, "Yo, I didn't even know y'all was gonna be here."
Like, oh my god, that's the late.
But you know,
I'm not annoyed with him for that mistake. I'm annoyed with myself because I would have understood a little bit if he made that kind of mistake. But for me to make that kind of mistake, I'm like, bro, what was you doing? Like, how did you make that? How did you do that? But if you look at our pictures, you can never tell that
not
happened
at
because
all.
we look great. I
No,
twisted up the
no.
front of his locks real quick. He left work early. Got him the rest of his outfit. I had already ordered his accessories to match my dress. My shoes and
So
my dress were ordered. Threw a couple braids in my hair real quick. Took them out in the car and away. Like, bro, you would
you,
never know. Did my
the,
lipstick in the car. Like, you would
yo,
never know.
now that day it was crazy. It was chaos, but got to it the day before we did the rehearsal. The best man and one of the groomsmen were at a bar in Newburgh. Jackie was tight. We were in Kingston. And everyone's like, "Well, let's start without him." And I'm like, "We need the best man here," and he was late.
Wildin'. Why can't like? How can we be the new adults? Who even let you get married, bro? Like, how did we? Like, who left us in charge of stuff?
Not us.
It's honestly insane. Because my parents would have never been that late to a wedding, bro. Never.
Well, look, I got three to hit this year, so we trying to get there. Oh man,
Leave
well,
early.
exactly. But now, obviously, eventually, you had to come back to the United States. How was
Yeah.
it adjusting back? Because the time difference was wild. I remember you telling me that like it was hard to do the discussion gangsters while you were over there because when it was night here, wait, was it day? It was day there, or
Yeah. The difference was exactly 12 hours or 13, depending on daylight savings, because they don't do daylight savings over there. So when we do it here, it don't change over there.
ah?
Um, but discussion gangsters actually started while I was in Thailand because we were in quarantine and we were bored.
Wait, hold on.
And
I'm sorry.
I was like,
My mom said I still don't know how she got Thailand. You mean
oh,
got
I'm
to Thailand?
sorry. I went to Thailand because I wanted to. I always wanted to see Thailand, and when I was a student in college, I considered studying abroad, but that's really expensive, and I was already like my parents were already paying for my education, so like I really couldn't ask them for more on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't got it like that, but you know what I'm saying? Like so, I was like, all right, that's my excuse to like not pursue that dream because you know when you like find an excuse to not pursue a dream, that was my
Yup.
excuse. My parents wouldn't pay for it. Okay, that's my excuse. Fast forward to I was doing my master's degree and I was with a different ex and I finished my master's degree and then he and I had wanted to go to South Korea because they pay for like airfare, they pay for this, they pay for that, they have your housing and stuff. And he didn't want to go and I was like, you know what? I don't want to drag him out of the country if that's not something he wants to do. So again, here's my excuse to not go.
Right.
And fast forward, he and I broke up. That night, I was on the computer getting my certification to teach English as a foreign language. That night.
Okay.
Like, and fast forward to after that happened, my brother was like, "Why are you going to Korea? Why is that what you chose?" And I was like, "Because they pay for it." Blah, 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 blah. He was like, "No, don't make a decision about a year of your life based on money. Pick somewhere that you really want to go." And I was like, "You know what? That's wise. I should do that." So I picked Thailand. I sorted through a few other places I wanted to go before also, but Thailand was on the list and it was always where I wanted to go. So I picked that and I was like, this is my time. Like I don't have a husband, I don't have any kids right now. And instead of paying to study abroad, I'll be paid to teach abroad and do what I want to do and visit somewhere I want to go. So
Two birds
I
with one
just
stone.
yeah, so I saved up money for like 2 years. I took two suitcases, a carry-on, and went 8,000 miles across the world by myself and taught kindergarten for a year.
Wow. Man. And you know what? Like I say, it's very honorable when people follow their dreams. You know, Malcolm X said, "By any means necessary." And
Exactly.
obviously we gotta get to what that means a little later. But that's inspiring for anyone who can take that risk and make that jump because a lot of times
Oh my God.
you
But
seen it
bro,
at the same
block him.
time I
Like,
did. You seen it at the same time I did. He just let me real quick. I know this is off topic, and he's just mad. He's mad because I finally got him. At Tasha's birthday, he was sitting down. He was next to Nisi, and then and
bro,
I knew I got him because he flipped me off. But you know what? I celebrated it,
you should,
thinking
because he do
it's
that
all
mess every
love,
time I
bro.
see him.
It's all love, but I just had you, and you need to come on here too at some point. We got to talk about that because you. So,
Hmm.
but yes, but he always gets me. But it's all love. Wouldn't be right if he didn't do it at this point.
Facts. Like, I'd almost be offended.
Yeah, seriously, you
Like,
like yo like
I'd be like,
it ain't
damn, we beefing?
no,
Like,
like bro, it's like that. Like I,
like
I
what
can't I
happened? We
can't
beefing?
like and he gets me the same way. I'll be like, what up, bro?
All the time.
Fall for it each
I
time.
go to give him a hug. Like
God, trip is a
every
trip.
time.
That's for sure. Trip is a
Trippy's a
trip.
trip. That's probably why they call him that.
You know.
all
So
all right. We getting off top. What were we talking about?
so
Oh
now
yeah, when I went to
moving.
Thailand. What
So
was we talking about
now
before that?
I was saying when you left Thailand to come back, how
Oh
hard was
yeah,
it to
yeah.
readjust back to here?
It was interesting because I hid for about a week from everyone that I was back in America because my ex, but at the time I was arriving like a week before his birthday. And so I told him that I was stuck in Thailand, that I like couldn't leave for a while. Well, that was the plan, was to tell him that, but then I actually got stuck in Thailand and couldn't leave. So so I was
You
like
in
4 days
4
later than I
countries.
bro, every time I leave the country. But so I was actually arrived in America like 4 days later than I anticipated, but still before his birthday. And they didn't tell me I had to like quarantine or anything like that coming from a foreign country, which is crazy. This was like 2020, height of COVID.
Yeah.
Nobody cared that I was coming in the country. But I chose to quarantine myself. So I just stayed in my parents' house for several days. Only a handful of people knew I was even in the country. And the reason I did that is because I threw him a surprise party for his
Okay.
birthday and I planned it from 8,000 miles away. and and so that I wanted it to be a surprise, so I couldn't tell too many people that I was back because otherwise it would get back to him. So like while I was in hiding for like that week, I was really isolated, like, but I was like, it was like a double edged sword because I was enjoying like kind of getting over my jet lag in peace without a billion people asking me like questions at the moment. But I was also like, man, I really want to go see my friends, my people that I've missed for a long time, and I really want to
Right.
like just hug them and embrace them. But I felt for their safety that I should quarantine for a little bit at
Right.
least. So I kind of kept it to I saw like one or two people. I think Tasha was really like the only person I saw, and she and I weren't even like that close at the time. But I like snuck out in the middle of the night and like went to her house. Like that sounded bad, but like
You did.
that sounded bad.
Oh man, that was terrible. But I got what you're saying.
Yeah, you get it. But
Of
yeah,
course.
it was definitely there was some jet lag for sure. There was like I had to get used to driving again. I had to get a car. Um I had to get used to not ordering food as much because over there they don't have stoves or burners in like apartments. There might be like hot hot tops like the burners like the
Yeah.
gas burners, but there's not like a stove in the, you know what I'm saying, like, and a lot of people don't cook as much over there at home unless you're like a family, you're in a house, then they have like stoves and burners and
But
stuff
the
like
apartment.
the bigger places. Yeah, there's no dryers like clothes dryers
Oh boy.
because it's fucking hot because it's hot.
Yeah.
Everybody hangs their clothes on the
So
balcony.
you
It's
don't
hot.
need a
Like,
dryer. You don't
yeah,
need a dryer. It's 100 degrees all the time.
exactly. So I had to get used to like, but like ordering food over there is so much cheaper forever. It's just cheap, even for like healthy choices. There's some, obviously they have expensive stuff, but like it's so cheap and it's like not worth the effort for me at least. I hardly went grocery shopping and like cooked. I cooked some, but so I had to get used to cooking again. I had to get used to not ordering as much because I came back over here and I'm ordering DoorDash all the time and I'm like, oh, these prices do not look like Food Panda. Like,
No, not at all. And DoorDash hit you with
so
all them fees and stuff too.
yeah. So I for sure had to get used to that. I would say the main thing that was the best for me coming back, besides seeing all the people I missed, is people speaking English because I got a taste of what it's like to be in a country where you don't speak the language that everybody else around you is speaking, and it's not
Yeah.
super fun all the time.
Yes. Exactly. You're kind of like you're feeling like the outcast in a
Like,
sense.
right. And it's like they're not the ones with a problem. They understand what they're
It's
saying just fine. I'm the one with the
you don't
problem. I'm the
understand
one that
what they're
got to
saying.
do something about it. So like it was great to be back where I could like read labels on things.
Read prices and say, okay,
Right.
this is where I'm supposed to
Right.
be.
Right.
Yeah, no,
But
no, I can understand. I can understand because I've never been out of the country, but it would definitely be rough. Rich says DoorDash be like sell your arm for your meal. Have you like do I really not want to drive to go get it?
and I don't every time and I regret it every time.
No, but
I
you
just
see them,
ordered I just ordered some Popeyes a little while ago. They done gave me the wrong flavor wings and forgot my sauces.
uh, and then they mess up your drink, all that
Every
stuff.
time. And I put it in my delivery instructions. Don't let them forget my sauces or my drink. Still forgot the
Still
sauce.
forgets it. You gotta
Still
be
forgot.
getting.
And it's like, had I driven there to get it myself, I would have made sure that they was in there because I could have opened the package. The driver couldn't have opened the package, but like,
They ain't happy.
the
They just can't get it right.
only thing
Just
DoorDash saves you is effort. It don't save you time. It don't save you money. It just saves you the effort. It panders to us lazy folks. They don't
yes.
want to go get their own
My
food.
my mom asked in the comments, any racism in Thailand?
Um, Fortunately for me, I didn't experience a ton of racism. I know there was a black teacher at my job the year before I got there, and I had heard some stories about some things that happened to her, but I don't know those 100%, so I don't want to tell any like
No, of
half-ass
course.
stories. But as far as for myself, luckily, no. I will say like people were interested in my dreadlocks, which were actually box braids. But, I would say a lot of people asked about like if people asked if they could touch my hair. One time I was out with some of my friends. We're on Khaosan Road, which is like this big street with like all these bars and tattoo places, and like it's just a big ghetto mess all the time. And we were out. We're coming out of a bar, and there's a white guy across the table going into the bar, and he's really tall. And my hair was in these big box braids, and it was like half down and a bun on top. And this motherfucker just reaches over and just like pets me on my bun,
And
and
you're like, bro.
I'm like, why would he touch me? Why would this man touch me? And I'm like, you lucky that I'm afraid of going to jail in a foreign country and end up in a hole and turn up missing. Because I'd have jumped over this table in America. Because that was crazy. What told you to touch me?
Yeah.
Like, and that wasn't a Thai person. That was a white person.
Yeah, like what is wrong with you?
Like,
But I'm
like what
glad
told you to touch me?
but I'm glad you brought up your hair actually. Cuz I want to talk about teacher with the fro.
Ooh, okay, let's talk about me.
So, um many people, that anyone who knows you, and I'm going to relate to the audience, is that she has a page and it's a business as well. Teacher with the fro. She takes a lot of pride in her hair, the way it looks, the designs of it. So how did it come about, and what was your ultimate goal behind Teacher with the fro?
Before we get too close into that, I wanted because you pointed out how I do my styles and stuff. I actually did this style, which I didn't plan on wearing on this show. I had planned on changing it again, but I didn't have time because 2 days ago, two of my little black girl students came in and they both had Afro puffs, and I was like, "Oh my God, you guys both have Afro puffs!" Like they're not like related or anything. They just both happen to have the same hairstyle on the same day. And I was like, I'm gonna do my hair like that and match them tomorrow and take a picture. And I did, but I forgot to take a picture yesterday. So I left it in today, hoping they were still gonna come with their puffs. And they did. And we took a picture today. And I was saying earlier, the representation matters. Like my kids are gonna remember that they had a black teacher in kindergarten with an afro that occasionally matched their hairstyle.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But back to Teacher with the Pros. So that started in about 2015. That was the year that I got my first classroom. It was a toddler classroom at a daycare, but it was my first time being like in charge. And I had been a substitute or I had been a teaching assistant at that job for a while. And I was told I was just being hired like for the semester. Once the summer comes, I was going to be let go because they had less kids. So I was looking around for another job. I was prepared to find something else. Then when summer came, they were like, "Oh, we wanted you to stay on as the lead teacher and take over that classroom." And I was
Okay.
like, "Oh, I didn't know that, but okay."
Okay.
And that was around the time when I was getting into like having a fro. Like my last relaxer was 2013, and I had cut all the rest of the relaxer out by 2014. So we're talking like my first year of even having
Yeah.
natural hair. And that was around the time that I was like, all right, I want to keep like a record of how my career is going, like the trajectory of it, stories from it, crafts that I do with my kids, like everything. And so I started a blog on like that website
There
Blogspot.
he is.
Oh, there's
LT,
OT.
what's up,
Hey,
baby?
friend. And I was like, what am I gonna call this? Because I had blogs before that were for other purposes, and I tried to come up with like catchy names for them.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I gonna call this one? And I was like, the teacher with the fro, and it just like came to me
Yeah.
out of nowhere, and I was like, bro, it's definitely me. Like
Absolutely.
it's such a big deal,
It's befitting.
right? And so I was going home after work every day and like blogging about things that I like, funny things the kids said, or like what craft we did, songs we sing, like just stuff relating to my career journey. And then that became, I also had started an Instagram for it, and I was posting all the crafts we were doing and everything like that, and linking it back to my blog. Then I started a YouTube channel, a Facebook page, and just kind of grew from there. And because it just, the more like different social media sites that became available, like I
Right.
have a TikTok account now as well, you know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of people have actually like cared and followed my journey for a long time. Like, not saying I'm like have some crazy amount of followers. I don't. I have like I think 1,600 on Facebook, which is not wild, but it's these people that have been with me for such a long
Right.
time that like care about my journey and like comment on my things, and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy for you," and they're supportive and they offer advice. Like, I also have a t-shirt shop, which I call the t-shirt with the fro. And
Okay. Okay.
and it's mostly like hair sayings and like teacher shirts. And a lot of teachers that follow me on Instagram have bought shirts. And one of them is a person that has like a crazy amount of followers. And I told her I would send her a shirt for free if she would post it on her page. And she's like, no, I want to pay for it because I've been following your journey for a really long time and I want to support you.
Oh
And I
wow.
was like, well, thank you.
Okay.
That's the other one. Who wears shirts is all my inappropriate stuff. That's where that's where the discussion gang hoodies are and everything. The other shirt, the t-shirt with the fro, that's where the teacher related things are. But thank you for mentioning my other little business. Okay.
Don't worry, LT. We getting there, bro. We getting
We're
there.
getting there. We're getting there. Glad you're back, LT. Miss you.
Yes, 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 yeah. So wow, that's good to know. And I think it's like you said, it's empowering to show young black children, all children, yes, but especially our children. That is
Right.
just like, they could say, they can sample themselves and say, well, my teacher wore natural hair to school. My teacher was unapologetically herself. I mean, even look,
Right.
my mom bought me this shirt. It's got a bunch of sayings on it,
Oh my God. I have a shirt that looks just like that, but it says teacher and it's got different and it's brown and I wore it yesterday. Like,
Oh wow, that's wild.
I
Yeah,
wore it
we gotta
yesterday.
we gotta be, I like to be unapologetically who I am.
I was about to see
You
if it was
know,
on my bed. I was gonna show it to you.
see if
I was
it's.
like, I ain't put the laundry away yet. Like if it was on my bed, I'll show it to you.
Oh man.
That's so funny
Well,
that
no.
you have that on.
Yeah, no. I just love the unapologeticness of being who I am and being comfortable in my own skin. And
It
I
took me a
think.
long time to get to that point, but I'm there
Mhm,
now.
that's it. And it's just finding out what your purpose is, like, and that's the biggest thing for us as people, is finding out what we were put here to do.
Right.
And and from now, of course, I promoted this as you being the gangstress of discussion gang, so we're gonna get into that.
I think
And
LT named me that. I think
so
LT came up with that.
So much like myself, that representation does more for the youth than we can ever truly explain. So kudos to you for embracing that role and thriving in it.
Thank you.
It's my boy Rich.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bro.
I really love it. It really means a lot to me. Like we just took our class photo, like our yearbook class photo a couple days ago. And I'm like, I'm so happy at the fact that like when my kids look back at their yearbook, their kindergarten yearbook, I'm who they're gonna see. They're
Yeah,
gonna see
yeah.
a black teacher with a fro that made an impact on their
And
lives.
that's what it's about, is being impactful. Whether it's especially good with children. Like, you can, like, you can impact adults, right?
Mm,
And that's very meaningful when you can do that, or when you can connect with people. But when you can impact kids and start their journey to figure out how they can impact other people, and especially in a positive manner, black minds matter. Yes, sir.
hello.
Especially when you can have that mentality and you can impact people in different ways. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing.
It
A
it
beautiful
definitely
thing.
matters. Like in terms of what you're saying, like it's different when you impact kids because you're shaping who they're gonna become.
Right.
Like a lot of times in my comments on my, like I said, I have TikTok and Facebook and stuff, and I mostly stick to like either hair related things or teaching related things on those accounts, and a lot of times people come in my comments and share their like negative experiences that they've had with their teachers, sometimes aimed at me if they're misunderstanding what I'm saying or whatever, but or or sometimes it's just at me, to be honest. You don't have to misunderstand to disagree.
Right.
But a lot of times they'll share their like negative memories of their teachers and I'm like, man, I have negative memories of certain teachers too, but I just hope that I'm not that for anybody.
Right.
And so
Well,
I think in terms of like core memories whenever I like speak to my children, like how I handle things when they're upset or when I'm upset. I
yeah,
think of like I like watch what words I use with I'm like not impactful, intentional. I'm intentional with my words with my students.
yeah,
I'm like, because if I slip and say something that I didn't mean harshly, but it sounded harsh, is that what they're gonna remember of me? Like, man, my teacher said this one thing that really like fucked me up for my whole life. I don't want that.
right.
Like,
Right. And then there, and then like it's just certain things in life they stick with you. No matter how hard you try to shake them, they just stay
right.
here, and or they stay here, and you just can't shake them. And when you're told something, especially at a young age, kids are like sponges. And you know, even me being a father, sometimes I say things that like when I'm upset or I'm angry with one of my kids that I might not necessarily mean, but luckily for the most part my children have understood that their father's just a complicated individual. I
I
mean,
mean, as a fellow daddy's girl, yes. And like the more they grow up, they'll understand like what things you probably went through trying to raise them in, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like having friends that are parents, that are single parents, that are married parents, that are divorced parents helps me look at my parents in a different light and like cut them a little bit more slack and have a little bit more empathy because I'm like, man, even though I have my perception of what my parents' life was like, what their marriage was like, what their parenting was like,
yeah,
I don't know what they were dealing with or going through at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like I may remember this terrible, like traumatic memory or something that was said to me that I didn't like, but I don't know what it was like from their end.
yeah,
I don't know what they were going through at that time. My parents did a great job of like keeping any adult problems away from me. So I have no idea what stuff they've gone through in my life, like
right,
as far as things that they wanted to keep from children. You know what I'm saying? Like
right. Yeah,
so
definitely behind.
it definitely makes me look at the adults in my life in a more empathetic manner.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And it's tough. These days things aren't like they once were. They weren't there, and it's sad.
Right.
It's sad.
Right.
And I think now we're in a day and age where people need people. Like regardless if it's family, friends, us parents now are doing the best to grow and heal along with raising our kids. Yeah,
Exactly.
you
Y'all
ain't wrong
are.
about that. You ain't wrong about that.
And see like comments like that, like that's my friend also that's down here. And comments like that make me feel like make me think like, you know what? I also don't know what like my parents' relationship was like with their parents when they were my age. I don't know what they're trying to heal from while they're trying to raise me.
Right.
So that like makes like this is what I'm saying. Like when my friends talk about their experiences as parents, it makes me more empathetic and like, okay, like maybe there's another side to this traumatic memory or this traumatic incident or whatever that I didn't know about. Or maybe those happy memories that I think were like all gravy and great were really my parents trying to shield me from some shit they were going through.
Could have been. You never you never know what people are going through.
Right. Because
Ever.
parents go out of their way to make sure that even if they're not good, their kids are good. Or that their kids don't have to be the ones to deal with the burden of whatever adult shit they're going through.
Right.
And why would I think that my parents didn't do the same thing? That
Yeah. Yeah.
don't mean they didn't go through shit just because I don't know about it.
Right. Stuff definitely happened and stuff definitely happens now. It makes me think of what my mom was going through while raising me and why I had to start forgiving my past because I really didn't know.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly how I feel about it. I'm like, I don't know what they were going through, so maybe I should just cut them a little bit of slack. You know what I'm saying? They did the best they could. And my parents are great parents. They're still
Yeah.
great parents. But like
Oh yeah,
but you know,
your dad is
parents do the
clutch.
best they can. Yeah, right?
Your dad is clutch for
I-
sure.
I'm a big daddy's girl.
But
I don't know what happened. I feel like when I was younger, I always would have to ask my mom for things, and me and my brother knew my dad would be the one to say no. And I feel like out of nowhere, just one day, I suddenly was spoiled. Suddenly, my dad was saying yes to everything and like nicer and smiling more. And like, I'm like, who's this person? And then he just stayed that way. Like,
and you're like, oh, okay, we're just gonna go with it.
my brother may have a different perception of that, but
But
yeah, I'm
for you,
definitely a big daddy's girl.
yeah, no. Well,
That's suddenly,
I'm I'm a
suddenly, bro.
I'm a mama's boy. That's for sure. I love my mom, as you know, as you can see, she's in here.
Yep.
So she's supporting her only son. So
Yep. My
now,
parents had the same. They have one son and one daughter. That was it.
boom,
Yep.
game set match.
My
So,
brother's definitely my biggest supporter though. Like
oh yeah, he
my
did.
whole life, literally. My brother's always been the one that's like been in my corner.
That's good. I mean, I have a sister, but they're just like from my dad. We're not very close, but we talk. She's
You make an
always
effort.
right. I'm trying to get better with it. I'm trying to get better in a lot of aspects at once. Um, ain't easy, but
It can be hard when you weren't raised together. You don't have that raised together bond. So
yeah,
it's either like it can be a little bit difficult and rocky, or it can be immediately like close because you have so much to learn about each other. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Like it
Yeah,
can go either way.
well,
Either way, and I don't think either way is wrong.
she also has 10 kids, so
10 kids is deep,
yes,
but
yes, and those kids, those babies are starting to have their own babies, so
that's
you know,
deep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It runs deep. It runs deep. So, but one thing I want to say is, or go back to, is, discussion game. You know, I'm a social butterfly, as are you. So I want to know how it came about. Like how did the conception of this? Like
Well,
how did it come about? Like, did you just say I want to have a page of open discussion? Or
mm-mm.
like how?
Shout out to Dan Mail. That's what they call my brother because they say that he looks so much like me that he looks like a male version of me.
Yeah,
So they call him Dan Mail.
y'all be twinning. Y'all be twinning.
We did. We get that everywhere we go now. I've just accepted it. I mean, yeah, we look alike. But the discussion gang story, similar to the Thailand story, involves a man. Um,
Of
so
course.
there was somebody that I used to deal with, and they had a podcast. They were starting a podcast with their two friends,
Okay.
and I was watching, trying to be supportive or whatever, and I kept seeing like little things that could be done on social media that could make it better or like make it be able to be seen by more people. And so I kept kind of giving my ideas, my little 2 cents, and eventually they just asked me to like run the social media for them. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, that way I can help and like all these things that I think in my brain, I can just do them.
Right.
And so I was working with them for, I don't know, a couple months or however long, maybe a year. I'm not sure. And then eventually there was a falling out, creative differences. We'll leave that there.
Okay.
And I was like, man, I'm really gonna miss running this Facebook group because I got the Facebook group up to like 1,300 people. And I was like, man, I'm really gonna miss this, blah, blah, blah. And I let everybody know that I was leaving, and they were like, wait, isn't this your group? And I was like, well, I run the group, but the company, the business is not mine. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to like lay any claim to a business that wasn't
Of
mine. So I was
course.
like, yeah, the group, I run it, but it's not mine. And so, like, because normally I wouldn't like announce that I was leaving a Facebook group, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? But like,
Right.
since I was running that one and everybody associated it with me, I was like, well, I should probably tell people that I'm not going to be here. And a lot of people that were in that group are there because of me.
Yeah.
So, made a little announcement. And then I was like, I don't have a podcast, but what if I just like start another Facebook group anyway
Okay.
and just like open it to like people having discussions and talking about things and like everything I was trying to do with that group and just bring it over here and put my name on it. And I was like, what am I going to call and I was like, I want it to be something about like discussions and stuff. And I was like, squad is such like an overused word. And I was like, I really don't want to call it like a squad. So I was like, discussion and gang. I was like, does that make sense? And it kind of it felt a little to me at first, but I'm like, I'm gonna stick with it. I'm gonna see if it grows on me, and it did. And then the group started growing and stuff, and then it's just kind of grown from there. And the thing that people like about it is that in a lot of Facebook groups, there's two big things that happen that lead people to be annoyed or like want to leave the group. One is when the admins don't do anything, and so people's personal business gets out, people's like nudes get exposed, people are talking crazy to each other, and nobody does anything.
Right.
And then people don't want to comment anymore because they know everybody's going to jump on top of them. Then once you get that like group mentality, you're already behind a screen, you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? So everybody
Yeah.
jumps in and says whatever crazy things come to their mind, and nobody does anything about it. You're going to want to like stop posting.
Yeah.
The other thing
Internet
is
gangsters.
when the group becomes all sex and all memes. It gets boring to people after a while. Like meme groups that are specifically for memes are
That's
cool,
another story.
but like yeah, and like groups talk about sex and everything, and then eventually it's like, okay, we're asking the same questions. What's your favorite position? What's the craziest place you've done it? Like, it gets boring, and people stop posting, and they stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets under your skin after a while to talk about that so much
Right.
all the time. So I was like, we're gonna come in this group. You're not gonna be disrespectful to each other and like call anybody out of their names, post any personal issues or anything like that, and respect each other's different opinions. That's what we also want is like a lot of things with a lot of other Facebook groups is everybody's got the same opinion. Everybody's all on the same side. So there's not much like back and forth conversation unless it's about sex, unless it's about relationships. And I'm
Right.
like, let's talk about other things too. Let's talk about politics. Let's talk about media, celebrity stuff, relationships, sex. Let's talk about serious things like current events that are happening in the world. So in discussion gang, we talk about those things, but it's a safe space for everybody to have their own opinion, whether it's against the popular opinion or not. Whether
Right.
you're a part of what everybody else is saying, or like you feel comfortable standing on your own 2 feet in discussion. For most people, obviously, it hasn't worked for everybody, and I lay no ill wills for anybody that has left discussion. Like my friends that want to leave always like come in my inbox with like a reason. I'm like, I promise I will not take it personally if you don't want to be part
Yeah.
of discussion gang anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
It's not.
you don't
It's
need to
not.
provide me a
It's
reason.
just
Like,
like,
we're not gonna
hey.
stop being cool. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's been this whole time. And people come to me all the time. They tell me how they feel safe and they're talking to people because other people, they've been met with compassion from most people. They've made friends. People go bowling with each other that would never have met each other except for discussion
I
gang. You know what I'm
mean,
saying? Like,
I think, and it's funny you say that, and I wouldn't. I'm renowned to say that that group came to me at a time when I needed it. Um, like sometimes you need, like I had, family. I had, I had my, I had Jackie, but sometimes you still need just something to help attach yourself to, in a sense. And I just seen an open group. I don't even know how I became a part of it. I was just there. I,
here you
I was
are. Like,
I was just there. Like I don't know how I got in there or what, but I think that sometimes you need to have that, and I think you've done a phenomenal job with doing this group, to build it up. And it's a question on here that I'm gonna get to, but not build it up once, but twice.
oh
Um,
yeah.
so but I want to know, was it always supposed to be a podcast? And I know, like me, I've started watching the show like last season, really. Like I had seen some stuff, but I really got involved last season with the show. And I want to know, and I know this is a little bit open because you've had multiple hosts, but how do you select your host? And I know it's changed over the years, but
Yeah, a couple times. I'll answer all of those questions at the same time. So like I started to talk about this a second before and then we got off track. But the way it started was it was not intended to be a podcast at any point. in the beginning. That was to answer that question. No, it wasn't. That wasn't the intention. But fast forward to a year later, after Discussion Gang started, and I was in Thailand, and the pandemic hit, and so now my sleep schedule is getting weird because I'm not going to work. So I'm awake when my friends in America are
Right.
awake, and I'm in my group chat with three of my college friends, J. Sierra, Chrissy, and Ariel, and we're just cracking up. I'm like, man, we're so funny. Like, you know how people be like, man, you should have a reality show, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, we should have a podcast. I'm like, what if we just got on? I don't even know if I was calling it a podcast yet. I was like, what if we just got on Facebook Live together and just brought this kind of conversation out in the open? And so that's what we started doing. And then we didn't really have much of a plan at the time. And season one is actually lost forever because the first Discussion Gang group on Facebook, we used to only air directly from StreamYard to Facebook group. Not to
Okay.
Facebook, not to YouTube, not anywhere else, just in the group. So only if you were in the group you could watch. And then that group got shut down because we had too many violations. And when you have the admins being the ones doing the violating, it puts the group in danger. I
Oh,
got put in Facebook jail a bunch of times. A couple of the other admins were getting put in Facebook jail, and it all counted against the group. And so, like, right before our 2 year anniversary, they just shut the whole group down with like no way for me to appeal it or anything. And I
oh,
tried everything I could find. I Googled for weeks, man. I was like, are you shitting me? We had 2,600 members at the time, and that was in only 2 years. And they just took it all away. And so because of that, we also lost all the episodes because they weren't saved anywhere
oh,
else.
because they were only in the group, the
Yeah, they
specific
were only
group.
in the group. I didn't have enough space to be like saving every episode on my computer, or at least in my mind, I didn't. And StreamYard didn't save videos at the time. It saves them now, but it didn't at the time. So it's just gone, all of it. And
Oh,
that was like I said, we didn't have much of a plan. So we just were going for months straight. I think we did like 40 episodes or some shit with no break. And all of it was just gone.
right.
And we had gotten a couple warnings, and so that was why I started a Discussion Gang backup group, and I added almost everybody that I could to that group, and I was like, man, in case we get shut down again, here's
Mhm.
where we're gonna be.
Right.
And then we got shut down again, and I was like, well, here we are. And so,
Square
like I
one.
said, so we moved to so that's where we are now. We're still in the backup group, which is about to come up on Discussion Gang is going to be 5 years old this year in May. It's going to be 5 years old. And we've had the second group for a while now. I think 3 years now. Yeah, because we lost the first one after only 2 years. So we've had this one for three. We also have discussiongang.com, which is where we sell the shirts, which is where we post our events and everything like that. I am working on making some upgrades to it as far as like using it as a social media platform. But I wanted to have something that couldn't be taken away from you, that couldn't be shut down by like comments that are intended to be jokes, like something that couldn't be shut down.
Yeah.
So I own discussiongang.com. I own the name Discussion Gang. I own all of it. I own the logo. Like I own
Right.
all of it.
And that's the best way is ownership. You have control over
Yep.
anything, and anyone
Yep.
who sees it, they know directly what it is. Directly what
Right.
it is and how where it came about. And from that, I mean, listen, you did the arc, and then you've had events, you know, from it. There was the arcade bowling
Oh,
event
oh
there.
yeah, the axe throwing bowling thing.
Yeah,
That was fun.
yeah, but
What
there
else?
was,
We had a bowling night. That was our first event after I got back from Thailand was a bowling night. We've had a kickball
yeah,
game. That was amazing.
yeah. I still get flashbacks to that.
That kickball game was great.
Yeah,
What else did we have? We had the Puff Pass Play game night with the Leaf Love Company, which is now the Happy Tree Cafe, Happy Tree Love. Shout out to them. We love them.
oh yeah,
So yeah, we've had a few events. I'm actually just started brainstorming today my potential first event in Virginia because we
okay,
actually do have a couple of gangsters that are down here that were already down here that I didn't know about.
Till you got there.
Yeah, I didn't know, but they might tell a friend to tell a friend, so or keep it small, etc.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about it because I do want to. I don't want a discussion gang to die because I left the area. I just want to expand it more, and then also keep it going more when I come back, like to visit. Like we'll see if we throw another event when I'm up there, over the summer. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I want to keep trying to expand it down here more. Like, I have a
Well,
lot of family members down here, so I want to help have them, collaborate with them and their people and whatever we can do.
you also had, I remember, a virtual event too, a scavenger hunt or
We've
of some
had
sort.
two virtual events actually. We had the
Okay, I
virtual
remember.
scavenger hunt
I remember
and we
that
had
one.
a virtual house party.
Oh, okay.
The house party was when I was in Thailand, and that was everybody was in quarantine, and we booked two DJs that were in discussion gang at the time, and we just all got on Zoom for like a couple hours. Everybody was drinking and dancing and stuff in their own houses, and we had
Listen,
a socially distanced party, and it was
and
great.
there was no crime against it.
It was
No,
great. My house looked afterwards. My house looked like I actually threw a party because I kept spilling shit, but
and it
I
was
was like,
just
man,
you.
how I make this much of a mess and I'm by
It's
myself?
just me
How did this
and
happen?
us.
How did this happen? I had to mop. Like it was crazy.
Niecy said you
Oh,
had a
Nisi reminded
spelling.
me we had a spelling bee also. But before we get to that, the scavenger hunt that was inspired by an a Groupon that I had years ago when I was in Troy, and I was looking for something. Like I was new to the area, and I wanted me and my ex to go out and like do something to like explore the city. And I found this game, like a Groupon for a game that was like a walking scavenger hunt, and you go and you find certain places or clues or whatever on the scavenger hunt, and
Yeah.
it's related to your specific city, and you take a picture of whatever the clue was and you send it in. I can't remember exactly what it's called, the walking something, the adventure something. I don't remember, but it was mad fun, and I was like, what if I do that? I'm like, what if I just put out a scavenger hunt list and people go and find whatever's on the list and send pictures of it as their proof, and then whoever has the most in the whatever amount of time is the winner.
Okay.
And we did that, and it was dope. We had a couple of people enter. We had people sending some really hilarious pictures. People got like their friends involved. Like it was really fun. It was great. Like Nisi said, we've also had a spelling bee. We had a couple of spelling bees, and I kept seeing these posts on like Twitter and on Facebook, like we should have a spelling bee where grown-ups try to spell like everyday words like inappropriate and necessary. And I'm like, man, I would fail. So like I got together I got 9 people to participate in the spelling bee on StreamYard, not Zoom, but same thing. And I actually pulled up a list of words that was from a real national spelling bee, some of which I couldn't even pronounce, and I had to write on post-its how to pronounce them. But
Oh man.
it starts off at like a low level, like second grade, like bat, cat, like you know what I'm saying? It starts off like really dumb low, so you get warmed up at
Work your
least.
way up.
But then immediately you're in words like WYSIWYG and like other shit like that. WYSIWYG will haunt me forever because I didn't know how to say it and I still said it wrong during the show. And even though I had it on a post-it,
It's
but
just one of those words.
it like turned out WYSIWYG was a fucking acronym or some shit. I'm like, they got acronyms on national spelling bee lists. It stands for it's WYSWYG. What you see is what you get.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, they put acronyms on spelling bee lists.
Like that's new. Like what are y'all doing? Acronyms
Like
for a spelling bee?
what's next? LMFAO? Like what? How the
LOL.
fuck? Like what? Yeah. So and then we did it again, but we did a drunk spelling bee. So you had 3 chances to get it wrong, and every time you got it wrong, you had to take a shot. So you take 2 shots, and then on your third wrong one, you're out.
So
So
so you get to spell it wrong and get drunk at the same
exactly,
time.
like you fuck it up, now you got to try it again. But like,
Oh man.
but it was fun though. Oh, the best thing we did on Facebook before they freaking took it away was the watch party. They had a watch party feature on Facebook, which let you like share what videos you were watching with a bunch of people, and you could you could have a chat, like a group, like a AOL chat room, almost like a big ass group chat. You could have everybody in the chat, and it was like you it's like when you stream your phone to YouTube and you can put other videos like in the queue and it will just like keep playing them.
Yeah.
So I would find like illegal copies because you can't screen record over like Netflix or YouTube or anything like that. So those like they black
It's
out.
copyrighted.
Um yeah, it's a copyright issue for sure. But so I would find like illegally uploaded copies of movies on Facebook and I would
Oh
play them
yeah.
in discussion gang on the Watch Party app, and I'd be like, "Listen, y'all, we getting on Watch Party at 8 p.m.
I,
Tap
I
in."
remember those.
Right,
Now that you said it, now
and
I
it was
remember those.
great because it was like you can watch a movie with your friends and talk to them without having to like ask people to be quiet because you're trying to watch the movie. It was
Yeah.
great.
No. No. It's
And
it.
then one time we had a 24-hour Courage the Cowardly Dog marathon where I put mad videos of Courage in the queue, and then I went to work, and like, and I just left my laptop open and hoped for the best that it would like still keep going when my laptop turned off,
Yeah.
and it was going when I got back from work. It was still going. Um, it was
Courage.
great. People were just be pop in and out whenever you can, and people were chit chatting the whole time. It was great. Everybody was like, "Oh man, Courage was crazy," and I'm like, "Let's watch it as adults. Let's like
Yeah.
look back
Yeah.
at the crazy shit
Like
as
we
adults."
we we
Like,
look back at some of the stuff we watched as kids, and now we realize, yo, we shouldn't have been watching half of these shows.
oh, absolutely,
Like
100% should not have.
like like Ren and Stimpy. We shouldn't have been watching
Man,
that. We shouldn't have been watching that. And that but it's good that you are able to take, people and everyone in the group is different. You have all different types of people, and like, and you are able to throw an event together. I mean, even to the point where, even like your parties with just your female friends and the themes, like the cereal theme, the fairy theme. I'm
we be
trying to
doing
remember
a bunch of shit at my house.
because there's like 2.8 billion of them that just pop up to mind. You
I
know,
pulled up the pictures the other day to show somebody that we had a vagina cupcake decorating event at my house once, where we made cupcakes and we used the frosting to make and frosting, Tic Tacs, and chocolate sprinkles to make vaginas.
oh my god.
You can you can imagine how it turned out,
But you
but
know what? It's creative. It's creative, and you're able to do that with everything that you're able to do, and just always having your head like on a swivel in a sense, and just you're looking to grow it. So it brings me to this question: what do you envision for the future of DG?
I don't know, man. Like I think about that question to myself all the time, like especially every time we're planning on bringing up like the next season of the show because like we've been on hiatus for a bit while I settled into my new job. But I'm always just like, man, like, what is the plan exactly here? Like, when are we going to stop doing discussion getting serious? But I'm like, I don't want to stop doing it at the moment. I'm
Yeah.
still enjoying it. I like chit chatting with my friends every week. Like, I like the people coming into the comments and giving their stories about whatever we're talking about. Like, it's really a lot of fun. So I don't really know what the end game is, but I'm just going to keep doing it for as long as people are part of it.
I mean, I think when watching you guys, primarily, since LT was unavailable for a little while, but primarily watching you, Nisi, J Sierra, and B Bond. And let's be honest, I call Nisi and B Bond Martin and Pam, because them
Hmm.
two, them two is always like this. And people, like, there are people who really believe that they really don't like each other.
Yeah.
like
It's-
like, and it's, but I think it's just J Sierra says we're just gonna grow. Y'all
and
growing
it
on.
is.
You know,
And
I think,
is.
but I think it brings a good vibe. It's you guys have a very distinct way of doing things. There's humor, there's seriousness, there's reality, there's hypothetical. And but I'd be finding it funny be- because you be pulling out some stories. You be like, and Niecy be like, Danielle, where do you find this? Where do
It's
you
just because
find?
my gang is where I feel so comfortable that I just be telling all my stories. Like, you know what I'm saying? I want to share the weird stuff that I've been through. Let's talk, cause they be having stories just as weird in the comments, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not alone. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Like, if one thing I am not with discussion gang is alone.
listen, you even bring the guest on. I told my story. We don't need to talk
mm,
about it again. Sorry,
mm.
Mom. We don't need to talk about it again. But I
We don't
did.
talk about Bruno.
But you know what? So that's great that discussion gang is growing, and you're looking to grow it more. But before I head into the ending part of my question, we have to talk about one thing in particular that happened to you.
Okay, which one was that? Because I got a lot of stuff that's happened to me. So what we
We
getting
we
into?
we talking about you messaging the world and telling the world that you got stuck in Israel
Oh yeah, that happened.
and got out right before the war
Right
happened.
before a small war broke out. Yeah. Um, the shortest version of that story, which is still going to be a long version anyway, is that my brother was over there. He was living over there, and I went over there to visit him. And I was supposed to stay for a week vacation in August or whatever. And I get there, we go out, we do some stuff, meet some people, everything's good. Next day, I wake up and I stand up out the bed and I'm like, huh, my ankle kind of hurts. And I'm like, what did I do to my ankle yesterday? And I'm like, I really didn't do anything to it. So I'm just like, all right, I'll pop some Tylenol and I'll put some ice on it. And I'm trying to like elevate it. I'm trying to do stand, sit, lay down. Nothing is making it feel better. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is. So I might as well continue on the excursions we were going on. And so I go the whole day, my ankle hurting, but I'm walking around doing whatever anyway. Then fast forward to the next day, now my hip hurts. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? I'm like, is this my sciatic nerve or something? Like, which is weird because that doesn't happen in my hip. And again, I just keep going because I couldn't figure out what was happening or how to deal with it. So keep going. Fast forward again. The next day, I turn over to turn my alarm off at like 5 a.m. and my chest hurts. And I'm like, okay, that's not great. And I'm like, maybe that's just like heartburn or something. So I take my acid reflux medicine. Didn't really help. I don't really get heartburn all the way down here anyway. So I'm like, I don't know. So I'm like doing one of these. I'm like beating on my chest. My brother's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. My chest kind of hurts. And maybe it's like heartburn or whatever. He's like, is that what you're supposed to do for heartburn? I was like, not really, but like it feels like a massage or something. Like that's what my body is telling me to do. So that's what I'm doing. I was like, listen, this is me telling you that I'm having some chest pain in
Yeah,
case it gets worse later. So you don't be like, why didn't you say anything sooner? This is me saying something sooner.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
he kept an eye on me the whole day. And like, mind you, we're on an excursion, so we're hiking up Masada, which is this mountain in Israel. It's 114 degrees, and
Smoking hot.
I'm a little bit dying. And so but I keep going anyway. And so that night, it's like not getting better. It's like getting worse. But even before that night, we went to the Dead Sea after that, the same day.
Mhm.
Went down there, took some pictures, and we're going back up. And I'm like, this is not this is not going great. And my brother, he like won't take his eyes off me. He's like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And like like a lady came up and asked him, like, is she all right? Like, and I'm like, man, people are
Like
noticing.
it's bad.
Like it must be bad. Like people are noticing. He's like, why are you struggling so much? I'm like, I don't know, I'm fat and it's hot. What do you mean? And like so we stop at this bar that we had lunch at, and I put my head on the table, and immediately everybody swarms me because they think I'm reacting to the heat.
Right.
So they're bringing me water and paper towels, and they're telling me they're going to take me in this little car to this room with air conditioning and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to go there because I came here on a tour bus. I don't want to hold the bus up or have them leave without me. and I'd rather just get on the bus and go back home and deal with this. So we go back, and it's like it's getting worse. It's nighttime now. It's not getting better. I can't lay down. Now I
Right.
can't lay on my side. Now I can't lay on my stomach. Now I can't stand up. Now I can't sit down. So I'm like, okay, I can't really exist without any pain right now. So maybe I need some medical attention.
Right.
So I text my brother and I'm like, yeah, I think I need to go to the hospital, bro. Like it's like 10 p.m. I was like, man, I really didn't want because in my mind I downplay when stuff is wrong with me because I'm like, if I am being too dramatic, if it is just like gas or heartburn or something, I'm gonna be tight.
Yeah.
So I convince myself all the time that I'm being too dramatic when something hurts. Um, so eventually I go to the hospital. They start taking their X-rays and stuff, and I'm like, I'm crying now in a wheelchair somewhere because I'm like, I really can't breathe, and these people are like not rushing enough for me.
Right.
I know they're doing like all the tests and stuff that they have to do, and that takes time. But I'm like, I this is like more urgent than I want them to understand that it's more urgent than what's happening right now. And then
Absolutely.
once I started crying, I really couldn't breathe. Like everything was like so constricted, I couldn't get any air in, and I'm like, now I'm freaking out. I'm like, okay, I have to calm down because I'm gonna die. I can't breathe. And eventually they give me some oxygen and it was like a brand new freaking day. Like I've never been on like oxygen like that before, like where I really couldn't breathe and I
Yeah.
needed it. And it was a brand new day. It was the first time I could lay down in like 2 days. Oh, it was amazing.
You,
But they
you,
admitted me to the hospital because they said I had a pulmonary embolism, which for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a big ass blood clot that started in my ankle, which is why my ankle was hurting. It traveled up my leg, which is why my hip was hurting. That traveled up to my chest, which is why my chest was hurting because my lungs were eating themselves basically. And he also said I had it in both lungs, which is rare, but I'm a winner. So
an
I'm
overachiever.
an overachiever. So then I ended up spending 3 days in the hospital. My brother and sister stayed with me the entire time. They just like switched off, like basically did shifts of like staying with me because I was so out of it that anything a doctor told me I was not going to remember. So I was like, tell it to them. And it was very, very interesting being in the hospital in a country where I don't speak the language. So they kept having to find people that could speak English for me. I'm like, bro, I don't speak Hebrew. And then the nurse would come back the next day. I'm like, I didn't speak Hebrew yesterday. I don't speak it now. I don't know what you're asking, bro.
I I didn't learn it in 12 hours.
I don't understand the question. You're not helping me. So eventually, my sister-in-law had a sign put on my bed. I'm like, they don't have a protocol for this. Am I the only like English-speaking person that's ever come in this hospital? Um, so they had to give me blood thinners, like anticoagulants, which is in a needle that that's you're supposed to take 100 milligrams in the morning and in the evening. So that's 200 milligrams a day. And so every 12 hours, they're waking me up and giving me a shot in my stomach. And then, and it was not great. And then when I left the hospital, I still had to do that myself. But my insurance didn't cover me in a foreign country. So I had to pay for that medicine out of pocket, which was very expensive. And instead of doing that, the hospital gave me a bunch of free samples. And mind you, at this point, they've told me I can't go home for a month because you can't fly for a month after you have a pulmonary embolism. And I'm sitting here like, I'm hoping he's joking. He was not.
Nah, nah.
So I stayed in Israel for 5 weeks because I couldn't physically not get on a plane. And I needed 5 weeks worth of that medicine. So I'm like, what do I do about this? So they gave me like samples, but they weren't the full 100 size. They were like 20s and 80s and 60s and 40s. So now I had to give myself two needles in the morning and two in the afternoon to get the correct dose of this medicine. Eventually, I was down to only having 20s. So I had to give myself like 5 needles a day. And I'm like, and my stomach was so bruised up and sore. My legs were like bruised up and sore from like giving myself these shots. Like, it was terrible. And then, but my brother and sister let me stay at their house for a month and like took care of me, bought me clothes, like did everything that I needed. And like, I was able to really just focus on like my health and my recovery.
Yeah.
And they still made sure that I had a good time. Like, we still went on other excursions that like didn't require as much walking and stuff. And like, if we did go out, they were very understanding of the fact that I couldn't really walk fast or far anymore, and they
Yeah.
didn't make me feel weird about it. Like I
Right.
was slowing
You
everyone down. They
still.
could just like, if you need a break, take a break. Like if you need to sit, we sit. Like, so they definitely like took care of me like above and beyond. So
Oh wow.
that was
It's
lucky that that happened while I was with them instead of when I like went to Thailand and I was like by myself.
yeah. No. No, and it's that's a scary situation. Like that's one of those things that happens that you hope never happens. And then when it happens, you're like, yo, like, because you think about it, what if that trip was 2 weeks later and all that mess that went on down there started?
Yep.
Now you're talking about, worse, because I seen videos of people reporting it, like hiding, like, like you're recording
Yeah.
themselves. Like, what are you
I
doing?
got out like 2 weeks before that happened.
Yeah, like,
Like
you
it
know,
almost went from bad to worse.
yes, and it's just, you got to just be mindful for anyone. And I'm gonna say this for anyone who's on this video or who watches this video later. I'm taking this myself included, is take care of your health. I
Hmm.
I personally haven't taken care of mine to the best of my abilities, and I'm at a doctor. I went to the doctor from October to December more times in that little span than I probably did in 5 years.
Bro, you were at the doctor like every day. It was
Do
insane.
like, yep, at this doctor, at that doctor.
Every snap. If it wasn't I hate Monday, it was at the doctor again.
And then, yeah, and it just wasn't fun, and it wasn't easy, but we're getting on the right track now. Now it's the dentist that's next. Yay, my
I will
favorite.
say though that health scare was, I call it a blessing in disguise because my time in Israel did lead to me ending up in Virginia. In the sense that I had wanted to come. So when I was talking about going to Thailand years ago when I was with my ex, when I said he didn't want to do that, we were looking into moving to Virginia because that's where I wanted to go to teach, and that was where somewhere that he would agree to go to. And fast forward to, we ended up not going for reasons, and like I said, we broke up and stuff anyway. So I went to Thailand, and then I got back, and I was in another relationship for a long time, and he and I were gonna move to Virginia. And then I was like, we broke up, stuff happened, whatever, whatever. And I was like, all right. So then I went to Israel, and I was living in Poughkeepsie before that. Like, like I said, we broke up. So I moved out, and I was living in Poughkeepsie, and I hated it. I don't like Poughkeepsie. And I was convinced that I was going to get hired this past year as a full-time teacher in New York. And I was like, my certifications are in order this time. Like, everything's ready. Like, I've got good references. I've got everything I need. And that didn't happen. And I was like, man, so I'm about to be doing a job I don't want to do for another year, living in a city I don't want to live in for another year because my lease was not up until February. And I'm like, so what am I going to do in February? Am I going to re-sign that lease and live somewhere I don't want to live and do a job I don't want to do? Or am I going to like take a chance finally and like try again to move to Virginia? And so I did that while I was in Israel. I was talking to my brother and sister about it. I bounced my ideas off of them and everything. They were like super encouraging. And I was like, first step is just fill out the applications. So that's what I did. And immediately the same day, I was getting calls about interviews and emails about interviews, same day. And I was like, is that a good sign? Like, is they
Like,
that desperate for
is it
teachers that the minute I put in an application, I'm on the board? Like, but I talked to my mentor about it, and she was like, well, Virginia just has a lot more vacancies in their teaching system than New York does. So it might not really be a red flag. And then I have a lot of family down here. So they talked me into the direction of like which district I might want to go to. And so I put in applications for more than one district. I took a bunch of interviews. I could not get interviews to save my life in New York. But for Virginia, I did 4 interviews in 1 week and I had I had offers from almost all of them. And they wanted me to start in like November. And mind you, I had just gotten back from Israel in September. So I'm like, oh, I was trying to see what I was going to do after February when my lease was up. I'm like, y'all want me to move now in November?
yeah,
And they were like, yeah, kind of. And I was like, well, I can't really move that quickly. Like, I gotta find a place to live and stuff first. So like, I was like, all right, if I'm hired, then I'm gonna look for a place to live and I'm gonna go.
right.
And I took the leap of faith, like they're saying in the comments. I was like, I took the leap of faith and I packed up my apartment. I broke my lease, which cost me a lot of money, and moved to Virginia. My friends and my ex and everything helped me pack my truck up. My parents helped me. My other friend helped me drive down here. All my family members that are down here helped me unload my truck when I got here. Before that, my auntie let me come stay with her. I came down for one day to look at a bunch of apartments. She drove me around. I looked at a ton of apartments, and then I came back to New York the very next day, and I saw one that I really loved, and that's actually the one that I live in now. And
Yeah, see,
and
hey,
then I moved. I left and I've started doing my job down here and I absolutely love it. I love my job. I love where I live. I love getting to know the parts of my family that live down here that I didn't see that much before. Like it was a big change, especially to do solo, but I love it. I'm really happy.
and you know, it's funny because we segued into it, and you answered every question.
You know, I just be talking.
It just flowed so nicely together. I will say, it's one of those things where, you have to, like they said, take the leap of faith. You have to do things that it was supposed to play out the way it did. That's right. You know, but to her and Nisi's earlier comment, they want you to stay in the States. So, she did that part.
Yeah. And the crazy part is, the other place I was considering Virginia and I was considering Costa Rica.
See, no,
And I
no,
was like, and honestly, that is the reason I didn't go to Costa Rica because I was like, you know what? I really should stay in the country for a little bit. Because to be honest, if something like that happens again, I won't have a lot of people around me to like help take care of me this time. So maybe I should like get my health together and like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
so that's why I chose to stay in the States and go where I wanted to go. And this way I can be more stable because like I've moved almost every 2 years since I was 18
right.
and
So
I
you
hate
wanna,
moving.
y'all moving's a nightmare. You just want to stay in one place.
Yeah, I want to have a job where I know what time I get there every day and what time I leave. I know how much my paycheck's going to be a salary. I have some insurance, some benefits, and I have a place that I live that I am not like afraid to unpack the boxes because I know I'm going to move again in 2 years. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm hoping that I stay in this apartment and like, not forever. I'm in, at some point, but I'm hoping more than 2 years,
Of
maybe. Like,
course.
I want to be settled. A lot of things in my life have been temporary and I don't like it that way.
No, I don't.
So
I don't think any one of us does. And Rich said here, you got to get uncomfortable before you could truly be comfortable.
that's
And
exactly what happened.
like I have written here, how is it going down there, and how you are adjusting? How well are you adjusting to life? And I think, for you, in going through the journey and going through the motions of trying to get to where you are now, I, I mentioned in the beginning, by any means necessary, you did whatever you had to do to get to this goal. And your goal was to be a full time teacher, and you wanted to do kindergarten. I remember us talking about that. You specifically wanted to do kindergarten, and you achieved that goal. And what I'll say to anyone who wants to be a teacher or who wants to follow a dream, this is a prime example of going wherever that dream is going to take you, no matter how far or close it is. You see, she went and taught in Thailand. She went anywhere she had to go. And I think even so, if Costa Rica was the only option, I think you would have done it at that
I
point,
would have.
because at that time you knew what you wanted, you seen it, and it's just keeping up that positive nature. And speaking in which, my last segment is more than anyone who knows me. I'm sure all the viewers know. They see my videos. I try to be as positive as possible all the time, even when. And let me say, and I think my wife is still in here. Nope, she left. Okay. So I want to say, to give her a shout out, because she not a very easy person to deal with. And she always has always really supported me and had my back. and she's always telling the kids how positive I am, even when sometimes some of the things that I say to her are not that positive, or I'm worried, or I'm stressed. But the last thing on this paper is positive ending message. So if you would have anything that you can say positive to the viewers or someone who will see this or based on what we talked about or anything in general, the floor is yours to say.
You mentioned that to me like a day or two ago, and I forgot about it, and I didn't prepare anything to say. But the reason I say that is because you actually just inspired me to say something just a second ago. You inspired a positive message out of me. So, like, what I was gonna say though is, like, when you were talking about how I did whatever I had to do to get the dream that I wanted to have. So my positive message to you that I've given to people in the past, my friends, and I try to give to everybody, is that whatever your goal is, whatever your impossible dream is, whatever obstacles you have to take, there's a path to it. It may not be an easy path or a fast path, but there's a path to it. It might be college, it might not be college, it might be work experience, it might require you to move, it might require you to make some changes in the setup of your family, even. But if you want something, there is a path to it. I feel like I don't want anybody to live their life saying all they did was barely pay their bills and die. I don't want people to exist. I want people to enjoy the life that they're given. A lot of people don't get to make it to the age that we made it to today. Like, you never know when your last day is going to be. So if you wait and wait and wait and have excuses and excuses and reasons, are you going to look back and say you enjoyed your life or you lived a life? You had it. You had a life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want people to enjoy it. So whatever your thing is that you want to do, sit down, figure out what the goal is, and map out what the steps are to get there and how you can achieve just the next step. All you got to do is focus on the next step.
Yes, it's not always about every step.
Right.
It's about
So
the
my
next
positive
step.
message is a baby step is still a step. That's all. That's how I'm gonna wrap it. A baby step is still a step.
And another thing I'll say is, look, I actually, and I just, I got this from an idea I seen online. I have a vision board.
Oh, nice.
I have a vision board. Everything that I want to try to achieve is right here. And it keeps me focused.
It keeps
And
you focused. It puts your goals in front of you. It reminds you what you're working
right,
towards.
because some people say, well, I do it on my phone. But here's the thing: when you do it on a phone, okay, that's cool, it's in your hand, but I feel like you retain the information more when you physically write it down, and you feel you took the time and the dedication to write it. So now it's like, okay, now I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I want to do this. And I think for everyone, we need to focus more on the positive things and get to where we need to go, versus everyone looking at the negative stuff or everyone looking at the downside of things. Let's uplift each other. Let's like instead of spreading hate, let's spread some love. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that.
That's what
I
we
can't.
need more of in the world.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even that's why I think it's really important that we do that and spread that message, and that we spread love to one another, and spread love to our kids, our families, and whoever else needs it, because you don't know what people are going through.
Right. Ever. You know who I really did that for, with? I don't know. Is some of my former teachers that I've been in contact with. Because I feel like a big thing that a lot of people don't hear is I'm proud of you or you inspired me or something. Like, and I feel like it's so impactful when somebody tells you that you inspire them, and because sometimes you think nobody's really watching you, nobody like cares about what you're doing, kind of thing. And to know that you inspired someone to do something, I feel like it's such a big feeling. So when I've been in contact with like, I recently found my elementary school library teacher on Facebook.
Oh
And I
wow,
told her, I was like, listen, you're the reason that I got a master's degree in literacy because you made me love reading.
wow.
And I'm like, she probably cried, but like, I'm like, I feel like it's so important to tell people when they've impacted you because we don't hear that enough in life in a positive way. We hear the negative. We hear how you made them feel bad, how you hurt their feelings, how you caused them trauma. But how often do you hear that you made a positive impact on someone's life?
Me personally, recently, quite a bit.
Good.
Um,
I love that for you.
like it's not as much as like recently quite a bit, and sometimes you don't even realize how you touch people, and I think I think everyone in this group knows, and I talk about him all the time, what Najee meant, and his passing really hurt, and just seeing what he did, I think me personally, I took that piece of him, I took, I took that. And now I'm trying to do it my way. I can't do it like him because I tell you, that man knew everything about everybody. I can't do it like him. But if I can say anything and take any piece of that from him, I can live with that. And I just, but to your point, we need to tell people that we're proud of them, that we're glad for them, that we're happy for them, that they're successful and that they've done the best that they can do and that we're glad for them. And I appreciate you for coming on this show, the premiere episode. And I want to thank all the viewers. I got to shout out my mom who did not have Instagram, made an Instagram to
Oh,
watch this show.
how supportive.
My boy Rich, me and Rich go back. We go back. That's my man. That's a day one right there. Nisi was in here just about the whole time. My boy Debo. He supports every video. He comments. He shares. He's my biggest supporter. I can't thank anyone enough. And anyone who tuned in for a minute, and I gave you a wave. I appreciate you. I hope everyone keeps watching. I'm going to be doing this for now Thursday nights. My work schedule might change, so the day might have to change down the road. But it's gonna be Thursday nights. That's right, of course, Jay Sierra. You was in here
Shout out to
too.
the other Discussion Gangsters hosts.
Yes.
Love
LT
y'all.
LT came in. We have B Bond in here for a little bit. It's
Nisi and
great.
Jay Sierra basically stayed the whole show.
Yes,
They're
yes,
so
Jay
supportive.
Sierra
I
needs.
love them.
I mean, and I'm hoping that you reciprocate because next week I will be back on here. My guest next week is the lovely Nisi
Oh, it
Diamond.
is?
Next Thursday, it is her. Appreciate you, Rich. Love you, bro.
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
Nisi.
excited.
Nisi will be my next guest. We love you too. Nisi will be my next guest. We will be getting into all about her. I got my first five episodes lined up. So yeah,
Exciting.
next week Nisi will be on here. We'll be talking about her.
Oh, it's
We'll be talking
gonna be
about
black as hell, ain't
we
it?
blackity black black. We're gonna be talking about Mavor. We're gonna be talking. I'm just giving her little gems now. We're gonna be talking about how she told me she can't sing, but she can sing. You
Out
know,
here lying in front of God.
you know. We're gonna be talking about her poetry, everything about her. So she goes, looking forward to it. I got a few interviews next week.
Shout
Black.
out to the Mavors. Shout out to Nisi.
Yes.
Shout out to all the Mavors. Pull up for Melanin Magic in a couple of weeks. Pull up for Mavor Week over the summer. All the dance workshop that's coming up. Shout out to J Sierra Beauty. Make sure you order your press-ons and your nail polishes on jsierrabeauty.com. Shout out to Unacceptable Behavior Network. That's Bebon and all his shows and everything like that. I just wanted to put everybody on real quick. Shout out to Urban Updates. Shout out to Ladies Vibes.
And
Okay.
don't forget and shout out to LT as well. LT has plenty of services he offers as well. Websites. He
Oh my
offers
God, it was
logos.
today.
Huh?
She said it was today. I thought Melanin
Oh,
Magic had still had a couple more weeks away. My bad, girl. I done moved away. I can't keep up. Listen, I'm trying. I'm sorry.
and if anyone in the comments wants to follow you or find your stuff, tell them where they can find all your links and
Let's see. All my social medias are either at Cool Socks Babe or at the teacher with the fro. Not the teacher with the afro, the teacher with the fro.
FRO.
FRO. That's out. That's my Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all that good stuff. If you care to keep up with all of the things that I am going through and dealing with in my career and in my personal life, that's where you'll see it.
All right. Well, you know who I am. Now you know who Danielle Morton is. And I want to thank her for spending her time and chopping it up with me on the premiere of Honest Hour. And see, look at that.
Oh,
Look at that. J
yeah.
Sierra.
Oh, I would be forgetting to say discussion gang. People be having to remind me all the time. Like, make sure you join us on Facebook at Discussion Gang. Follow the podcast account at Discussion Gangsters on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. We all over the place. Our show will be back in a couple of weeks. Also, we haven't nailed down a date yet, so don't quote me on a couple of weeks. But we'll be back at some point, and when we are, we'll still be shouting out Honest Hour in our stories and everything like that.
And we'll
It's
be
all love.
and we'll
We
be
all want
shot
everybody to eat.
and we'll be shouting out Discussion Gangsters as well. And I don't know how many sports fans I got in here, but y'all know Monday nights I do Nerd Camp Sports with Raja Anthony Ali. We get into everything sports. Thursday nights will be Honest Hour. Wednesday nights will be Discussion Gangsters and Ladies Vibes, with which we will talk about next week. I'm jumping the gun, but Nisi's here. We got to represent. Ladies Vibes is Tuesday nights. I hope everyone has a good night. Danielle, thank you so much, and I will see you all next week.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Bye.
Peace.